Taika Waititi has become recently a problematic figure within Hollywood. On one hand, he's able to deliver Academy Award-winning films like Jojo Rabbit, and on the other, he makes movies like Thor: Love and Thunder, which wasn't particularly acclaimed by critics or the general audience.
They are wonderful. Oh, look at that. Those things are beautiful.
Even though I didn't think that movie was horrible, it has become much more difficult to defend his work in the MCU after his statements in which he said that he had no interest in doing one of those films. And he continued, "But I was poor and I just had a second child and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children." Yeah, maybe not the best thing to say when your last Marvel movie had a poor reception. But out of nowhere comes Next Goal Wins, which honestly I wasn't even aware of. This film tells a true story of Thomas Rungan, played by Michael Fassbender, a soccer coach who is faced with the task of training the American Samoa national team, which is supposed to be the worst soccer team in the world. Right from the get-go, you know this has the perfect recipe for some classic Taika humor, and most of the jokes land. However, there is a scene at the beginning of the movie where Tabitha, the president of the Football Federation of American Samoa, is talking with his wife and son, and the dialogue feels strange. They were trying to be funny, but the timing was off. I almost thought that there was an editing problem. The movie has some moments like this, but overall, the comedy lands pretty well. However, one of the downsides of the film is that it seems more concerned about exploring the American Samoa culture instead of exploring the characters in the film. Of course, the protagonist and another specific character do interact quite a bit, and they share moments that help a lot in terms of character building. But it is also worth noting that I just remember 3 other players from the soccer team. None of them did something remarkable, and they only served as tools to deliver certain comedic moments. Which, even though I'm a fan of Taika's comedy, sometimes it becomes an obstacle that doesn't allow us to get to know these characters. Nonetheless, I should add that Michael Fassbender's performance is great because he accurately portrays a character with underlying issues that make it impossible for him to create new relationships. But all of these emotional problems only clash with the specific character that I mentioned earlier. This is because, as you probably expected, this movie is not so focused on exploring soccer and its dynamics. It wants to dive into the psychological profile of this character, but not so deeply. The movie seems to be afraid to talk about his depression, so they just use the classic trope of having him drink alcohol constantly. However, I honestly enjoy this movie. It's not Taika's greatest work, but it is a movie that intends to unite the worst parts of life with the positive things that surround these issues, and that also constitute an undeniable part of our lives, like relying on the society around you and the humor that people use to thrive in their everyday. And that's why I give this movie an 8 out of 10. It had great humor, but the characters lacked some depth that could help the audience feel more invested in the plot. But what do you think? Do you give it a higher or lower score? Comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and for now, I'm out.